Okay, welcome back. Welcome back for the second time. I had to end the first live, come back because I showed a segment of ESPN with Mike Wilbon, Stephen A. Smith, Jalen Rose, and Mike Greenberg, Greeny, uh, speaking about Scottie Pippen's latest book and speaking about the issues that he had with Michael Jordan in The Last Dance. So I'm going to have to be careful showing ESPN footage because they put a block on the live right off top, right before I could even get into it. But let's get into it. I have a video with Scottie Pippen. Scottie Pippen, the most underrated player in NBA history. You can check my catalog for that of videos. All you got to do is scroll down. You'll see Scottie Pippen wearing a Santa Claus hat in the thumbnail. And I think I did a pretty good breakdown of Scottie Pippen's worth. I'm going to do a short breakdown of his worth and why I feel that he may feel he's disrespected. Stephen A. Smith loves to talk about money. A lot of guys on TV, a lot of talking heads like to talk about guys' contracts or guys having issues with their contract. Stay out of people's financial business as far as that's concerned. You know, if Scottie signed a deal, he was young and naive. Then midway through it, realized he was way more valuable and wanted to renegotiate, and they wouldn't even in good faith renegotiate with him, even though they knew his worth. He has the right to be upset about that. I mean, yes, he made a mistake, but many times guys sign a long-term deal, their value escalates, and the ownership and the management of the team in good faith will sit back down with that player and revisit the contract and either extend it with a large amount of money or add incentives or something like that. If you make the all-star team, you'll get this bonus. If you make the all-defensive team, you get that bonus, so on and so forth, right? Well, the Chicago Bulls owner and management, which featured Jerry Krause, team president Jerry Krause, team president and general manager Jerry Krause, who they dug their heels in and said, sorry, Scottie, the owner advised Scottie not to sign the deal. Scottie was thinking about his family. He came from a large, dirt poor family in rural Arkansas. Okay, and if you think Arkansas might be rural now, it's probably way more developed. But imagine the mid '80s, him coming out of poverty, and he had a father who was in a wheelchair, sickly, and he had a brother that was in a wheelchair, sickly, with special needs. So he was looking at it as, okay, just give me the most money you can give me right now because I want to take care of my family. He made the mistake of signing a contract that was too long for a too small amount of money for what he was worth. But I don't want to get into Scottie Pippen's money in his contract. That's one reason he may feel slighted and watching Michael Jordan make all of these millions and millions of dollars really with Nike, not with the Bulls. Mike didn't really get paid off with the Bulls until toward the end. Same thing with Larry Bird. Same thing with Magic Johnson. These guys weren't signing astronomical deals because I remember when Cleveland, it was a big story when the Cleveland Cavaliers signed John Hot Rod Williams, 6'11" power forward, back in the day in late 80s, and gave him $4 million a year. It might have been the early 90s, and gave him $4 million a year. And temporarily, he was one of the highest paid players in the league at $4 million per. So they were giving out long rookie deals as a norm with guys coming out of college. It wasn't uncommon for you to sign a 7-year deal coming out of college. Now, today, that's unheard of, obviously, because players and agents have gotten much smarter and way more savvy. They've adjusted some rules in the players' union. And now guys, if they know their worth, they're not really trying to sign nothing longer than 3 years, especially if they're valuable and they're young. Of course, Scottie Pippen didn't have a financial education. Well, he went to college, but that doesn't mean nothing. A lot of times when you go to college, they just have you taking 6, 7 different subjects and have your head spinning to make you so-called a well-rounded human being. How about I decide on that and you just give me the nitty-gritty of what I come here to study? If I'm coming here to study biology, I don't need Shakespeare. I can go to the library, or I can go to the bookstore and read that on my own. I just want to know biology and everything directly associated with it. So anyway, I don't want to go off on a long tangent with that. But Scottiepippen, the disrespect really comes from his game on the court, in my opinion. He was truly the first point forward. Yes, Larry Bird kicked it off with point forward skills and point forward playmaking. So did a few others throughout the years. But Scottiepippen really was the de facto point guard of the Chicago Bulls. So much so that he used to even defend the opposing point guard if the opposing point guard was giving the Bulls trouble. Scottie would switch on him and lock him down, even to my great Magic Johnson. He torched Michael Jordan for a triple-double in the first game. The Lakers won. Phil Jackson immediately said, okay, we have to make an adjustment right now. I cannot let this go on another game, and switch Scottie over to Magic, who hounded him 94 feet, made Magic put the ball his back to the basket, bringing the ball up the whole way down just to keep the ball away from Scottieppippen's long arms. Not that Jordan wasn't a great defender, but Jordan was a great defender who had a huge offensive role, and that requires a whole lot of energy. It was the end of the year, the finals, and Phil Jackson decided to conserve Mike's energy on the offensive end. He's going to put Scottie on Magic. That turned the series around. I watched Phil Jackson put Scottie on John Stockton and almost single-handedly shut down Stockton and Malone's pick and roll game. Grinded it down to a halt because Scottie was able to take away passing lanes and vision away from the great John Stockton. And John Stockton had a hard time seeing over Scottie, getting a shot up over Scottie, and getting around Scottie off of the dribble. Scottiepippen was truly the first point forward. He ran point guard ever since he really came to the Bulls. Why you think I still consider the 96 Bulls the greatest regular season team ever, not that 73-9 Warriors team, because they didn't get it done. LeBron won a championship that year with the Cavaliers, and the Warriors went home tail tucked between their legs and let Harrison Barnes go via free agency and picked up the great Kevin Durant. That's how bad they felt about losing the championship after winning 73 games, setting the regular season record. But that 96 Bulls team, who set the record of 72-10, did not have a point guard in the starting lineup. They had Ron Harper, Michael Jordan, Scottiepippen, Dennis Rodman, and Luke Longley. So Scottiepippen was the de facto point guard. Did he share point guard duties with Michael Jordan occasionally? Absolutely. Michael Jordan averaged 6 assists for his career. So obviously, Michael Jordan was also doing his fair share of playmaking. But Scottie was the point guard. It allowed Michael to roam. It allowed Michael to rest and not have to be hounded by a small guard bringing the ball up the court. It allowed Scottie to get others involved, others touches other than Michael just getting the ball and going to work. And Scottie was also the buffer. You know, Michael Jordan was the quote unquote bad cop. Scottie was the good cop. Michael would cuss you out, tell you if you fumble the ball out of bounds again, he's not going to give you the ball back for the rest of the game, maybe for the rest of the week or the rest of the month. Scottie would go to that player, pat him on the back and say, hey, I'll give you the ball again. Don't worry about it. Just forget about it. Let's go to the next play. He was the calming factor, and he was a very underrated leader on that squad. He was the only man on that entire Bulls roster to win 6 championships with Michael. Okay, no other guy can say that. You know, they brought in different guys throughout the different three-peats. Dennis Rodman replaced Horace Grant for the second three-peat. Luke Longley and Bill Wennington replaced Bill Cartwright at center. Ron Harper replaced Paxson, Jim Paxson at the point. And they became the ultimate defensive team, that 96 Bulls team, which highlighted Scottie in his prime. Now, some may harp on the fact that after Michael left, Scottie didn't win a championship. Michael and Scottie were basically the primary scorers on that Bulls team, with Michael Jordan leading the league in scoring every year. So what team, you tell me, that takes away 30 points a night and can win an NBA championship? You tell me in the comment section. What team can take away 30 points a game and win a championship? It's not going to happen. You're not going to make up that level of production in 1 year, the next year. And who did they replace Michael Jordan with? Pete Myers. So how in the hell was Scottie supposed to take a team that replaced Michael Jordan with Pete Myers, who Pete Myers could barely crack 10 points a game? All right? So that criticism is unfair. He got criticized when he went to the Houston Rockets, paired up with an aging Charles Barkley and an aging Hakeem Olajuwon, who had just went through a few playoff wars and won back-to-back chips. And then Michael came back and went on a three-peat run. So Olajuwon was past his prime. All those all those injuries added up. Same thing with Barkley. Barkley was no longer the Charles Barkley of the Phoenix Suns or the 76ers. He was, I'm not going to say he was a shell of himself, but he was about 3/4 of himself. Once again, that team was built on names. Nobody at that time watching basketball seriously thought that they were going to win a championship. They were all too old. Even Scottie at that time, because of the back injury that he suffered in the 98 season, right? He had numerous injuries, chasing guards all over the place. It takes a lot of energy to defend. For those of you who don't play basketball or don't play on a regular or don't play seriously or competitively, go out there in the playground or the YMCA and just focus on defense. Just focus on playing defense and see how your body feels when you go home that night. All right, your knees, your ankles, everything is going to hurt from you constantly shifting side to side, jumping, trying to defend. It takes way more energy to defend than it does to score the ball, right? Especially at that NBA level. In my Scottiepippen, the most underrated player in NBA history video, I showed a clip where Isaiah Thomas, who's still a little bitter, was disrespecting Scottiepippen because Scottiepippen said he didn't want Isaiah Thomas on the Dream Team, on the 92 Dream Team, the first Dream Team. So Isaiah went on a tangent, clowning Scottie, saying Grant Hill was the next guy. Scottie couldn't carry the league and yada, 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 yada. But you know what Scottie did do? He helped Jordan whip the Pistons, got over that hump, and was a part of 2 three-peats. All right? Scottiepippen also averaged 20 points a game, along with being the de facto point guard, along with being the point man on defense, taking the toughest assignment to give Jordan a break. Why do you think Jordan in The Last Dance even said, you can't speak Michael Jordan without speaking Scottiepippen? So I don't think it's – I understand where Scottie's coming from with his Last Dance criticism of just seemingly portraying him in a negative light. I don't know how much of the editing Michael Jordan was in charge of, or he actually did or watched or whatever, but could Michael have shown Scottie in a better light? Absolutely. I agree with Scottie there. I don't even think Shaq, if he did a documentary, would show Kobe, just highlight Kobe's negative tendencies or negative highlights and not showcase what he actually meant to him and winning championships, which I think Michael Jordan didn't do enough of in The Last Dance. What stood out was him highlighting the 94 season in which Michael Jordan was in retirement, the first retirement, playing baseball. And Scottie refused to go into the game because the play was called for Tony Kukoc, the small forward, power forward from Europe, who came over to the Bulls to take the last shot. And Scottie felt disrespected because he felt it was his team. Michael wasn't there. He wasn't Robin no more. He was the man. The ball should have went through him at the very least. I also agree with that. But to call Phil Jackson a racist, that was a bit of a stretch. I've never known Phil Jackson to be that way. I've read a book of Phil Jackson's and everything. So Scottie has some issues also because rappers, notably, if you're not into hip hop, there's this rapper called Future who sold millions of records and openly bragged in a rap song about sleeping with Scottipippen's former wife, Larsa Pippen. But Larsa Pippen used to run around in the Kardashian circles. So anytime you have a woman like that running around in them circles, man, you know, that was bad news. And with a lot of these guys, not for nothing, this may sound racist, but it's not. Not for nothing, when a lot of brothers, quote unquote African Americans, get in the spotlight, start making some money, they date everybody else other than an African American woman. You know, they go for these certain types of model looking girls, European looks. And a lot of times these women are just gold diggers. Not that some of them aren't sincerely in love with them, but a lot of times they just appear to come out of nowhere and organically be a part of their life, but they be following these guys. They know what hotels they're in. They know when they come into the city, when they're going to be back. You know, groupies is not just in music. They're also in sports. You know, if you look at that show Basketball Wives by Shawnee O'Neal, Shaquille O'Neal's wife, all you see there is a bunch of groupies that got lucky for the most part. Many of them did not bring anything to the table other than their looks. And they got put in the lap of luxury, like Larsa Pippen. So she never, to me, really was feeling Scottie like that. She played the role to live that lifestyle. And as soon as she got an opportunity to hang around rappers and other actors and celebrities, boom, there she went. Because that was her makeup to begin with. But a country boy like Scottiepippen, who ain't never been around nothing like that, he don't know no better. Just like he didn't know no better about signing that contract. He didn't realize that as his value elevated, so should his pay have elevated. But he signed himself into like a 6-year deal, 7-year deal. And like I said earlier, the Bulls management refused to renegotiate. So you guys let me know in the comment section. I took some meds that's starting to bog me down right now. I'm going to come back with a part 2 talking about are we in the golden age of point guards? I might come back in the middle of the night, might come back in the morning with it. I'm not sure. But I just want to say this before I exit about Scottiepippen. I want to use this as a lesson that everybody can learn, right? Know your value. Know your value. And what I mean by that is know that your value is through the roof. I don't care if you a cashier at Burger King, a school teacher, a nurse, construction worker. Know your value, which is unlimited. You have no ceiling. People, others will put a value number on you. It's up to you whether or not you accept it. Some of you may look at me and say, well, this guy's crazy. My value is beyond $1 billion, beyond $1 trillion. Okay, it's beyond that. You guys might say, oh, this guy's crazy. You know, well, I've learned to value myself and be confident in myself, speak my mind, be direct. And Scottiepippen didn't do any of those things, which led him into that predicament that he was in. Even when at the height of their success, if he felt like he was being underappreciated, he should have demanded the ball more. Even then, he should have demanded that he be allowed to shoot 20 to 25 shots a game as well, even if the offense got sped up. Because now, as we can see by the modern game, you can have 3 guys attempt 20 shots in the same game, and there still be shots for others just because the pace is so fast. They're getting more shots up. So even if the Bulls had to increase their pace to get Scottie more shots, if he was taking shots maybe earlier in the shot clock, if Jordan was taking 25 to 30 shots, in the modern era today, Scottie would have also been taking 20 shots. All you had to do is look at the Golden State Warriors, how that worked with Clay, Steph Curry, and Kevin Durant, and how others around them still got opportunities to shoot. You can see how that works right now with the Brooklyn Nets, with Kevin Durant, James Harden, and hopefully Kyrie Irving. But even when they were all there, not too many, maybe 1 or 2 games or whatever, the pace is so fast, they could all get their shots up. It's not an issue. Why you think LeBron was willing to bring on Westbrook, who he knows is going to shoot the ball 20 times a game plus? He knows this. Anthony Davis needs his 20 attempts, and LeBron is going to get his 20. But during the pace right now, all 3 of them can eat, and still there'd be leftover shots for bench guys and role players. Scottie should have demanded that he be featured more in the offense as a scorer. He should have demanded that he get more shot attempts at the end of the game instead of always deferring to Jordan, if that wasn't in his heart. All this time, I thought Scottie, and this is where I'm going to be fair and objective. I'm a big Scottiepippen guy, but this is where I have to be fair and objective. All this time, Scottie was never truly comfortable being that number 2 guy. But we all thought he was. He never spoke out against Jordan, never spoke out about the role that he was playing, never spoke out about his scoring average not being more. The same way McHale never spoke out about playing next to Larry Bird. McHale could have went anywhere else, Kevin McHale of the Boston Celtics, and averaged 25 points a game. Easy. Easy. In fact, he could have averaged just as much as Bird, truthfully speaking, especially the way the game was played back then, where it was much more come down, dump it into the post. Even though Kevin McHale had a great mid-range shot, he could extend his shot out to the 3-point line, was a great free throw shooter and rebounder, and a good offensive rebounder. Kevin McHale could have easily averaged between 25 and 28 points a game if he wasn't playing next to Larry Bird and the great Robert Parrish. So I thought Scottie was like Kevin McHale, that he knew that he was sacrificing his game and he was comfortable with it for winning. I guess he was. Maybe in the midst of it, while as long as the championships were there and they were celebrating and throwing champagne around and having parades, right? But as soon as it was over, I think the resentment and Scottie's true feelings started to kick in. And especially after he started hearing all the disrespect in the media and from some other players in his era, like he didn't bust their ass when he did. He started saying to himself, you know what? Maybe I should have took more shots. Maybe I should have demanded that Phil feature me more in the offense, scoring the ball. You know, maybe I should have been a little bit more selfish and self-absorbed like Michael. And I'm not going to say Michael was self-absorbed. His talent is his talent. He was just a superior talent and a superior hard worker, superior intellect, everything. So that's my message on the back of Scottiepippen. Know your value. And this is where I'm going to segue into this Phoenix Suns story just a little bit. I don't give a damn about some owner talking some racist nonsense around the office and he kept writing them checks. The players kept cashing them checks. They wasn't complaining, right? So I'm not going to complain. They've had quote unquote African-American ball players there the entire time. I've been following basketball. So the checks was being cashed. Big contracts were still being given out. Chris Paul just got a big contract in his mid-30s. I don't give a damn what he says, as long as he pays them accordingly and gives them what they need to win. But I will say this, it's a lot of the employees were complaining on that ESPN report of misogynistic, racist rhetoric being spouted in the office by upper management. And this is what brings me back to the Scottiepippen point of knowing your worth, being having self-belief, being an advocate, being a self-advocate, being an advocate for yourself, and speaking your mind. A lot of people are so concerned with a paycheck that they will let somebody wave a finger in their face, cuss at them, demean them in front of others. Sometimes in certain extreme work situations, even lay hands on them and not do nothing because they want to keep that paycheck coming in. Well, guess what? You're going to keep that paycheck coming in, but you're going to die a death every time somebody disrespects you in that workplace. You're going to die. Some people die many deaths, not just one. You die a spiritual death every time you allow somebody to play with you or disrespect you and you don't check it. You don't step up and defend yourself. Even if you get fired, even if you defend yourself from somebody physically picking on you and you lose the fight, it don't matter. You still have to stand up for yourself. You have to advocate for yourself. You have to have some self-belief. Like, look at this channel. I got 336 subscribers on here. I've been at it since December. Here we are getting ready to go upon December next month, a year, 300 something subscribers. I could say, man, I'm really not that good. I'm not good at this. I'm not getting the response that I thought I would get. Or I could say it's everybody else's problem that they ain't catch up to me. That's the way I feel. I feel I'm way better at this than many YouTubers. I feel like I'm way more intelligent and knowledgeable about sports than a whole lot of YouTubers and a whole lot of guys on TV. But you know what? My life is my life. My path is my path. And I have to have the self-belief in myself to keep going, because I will have a breakthrough with this as long as I keep going and I believe in myself. I could look at the small amount of subscribers I have right now and decide to give up and say, maybe I'm not that good. Maybe the people don't like me. That's a defeatist mentality. I'm not giving up. I'm going to keep going forward and I'm going to have a breakthrough. But that brings me back to Scottiepippen. That brings me back to those people who complained about the Suns management. Believe in yourself, stick up for yourself, and be willing to walk away from a situation that is demeaning to you, that is beneath you. Be willing to walk away from a paycheck. Be willing to walk away from a salary, okay, or a commission. If you feel like the people that you work with are not valuing you, walk away. There's always somebody that will value you, even if that somebody is yourself and you have to start your own business. If there's nobody else to value you, you have to value yourself. And that's where Scottiepippen went wrong, bringing it all back to Scottie. He never truly valued himself the way he should have, the way some of us saw him, saw the potential. Scottie could have easily averaged 25 points a game. Easy. He was that skilled. All you have to do is watch a Vlad TV interview of John Sally stating Scottie was the most skilled player he ever saw, he ever witnessed, including Michael Jordan. He could do things in practice, he said, that Michael couldn't do. He had to actually teach Michael. Like something as simple as dunking with the left hand. Scottie had to show Michael the footwork of how to get his dunks off with the left hand. That was something that Phil Jackson pointed out. All right, so know your value, know your worth, so you don't end up like Scottiepippen, accomplished and bitter because he doesn't feel he was recognized for the player that he actually was. Well, he didn't recognize himself. First and foremost, he didn't recognize himself as the player he was. Stephon Marbury got tired of the NBA and got tired of their politics and bullshit and went to China because he knew his worth. He said, "Okay, I don't need the NBA. I'm a Hall of Fame level basketball player, Hall of Fame level point guard. I can go anywhere in this damn earth and showcase my talent. Europe, China, Russia, whoever valued me the most." And it so happened to be that China valued him more than the NBA. So much to the fact that he has a statue in China outside their arena in Shanghai. Shanghai Sharks, I believe it is, because Marbury won multiple championships there with them, and the people looked at him as a basketball god, and rightly so. He was the best thing they ever had over there. He left the NBA in his prime because of his self-belief. Now, was Marbury a little off with the whole Vaseline video? But I'm just going to call that he had a little bit of a mental breakdown. He went through a bout of depression, and you're liable to do anything in that case. So I'm not going to hold that against him, but I will say this. He knew his value, and he said, "F you, NBA. I'm going to go over here to China and make it." And he did. Made a lot of money over there, started a lot of businesses over there, had a lot of success over there. Now, of course, you're going to say, "Oh, he won a championship in China. That don't count." Who the hell are you to say it doesn't count? Competition is competition. Anywhere they throw that there's a trophy to be won and you win it, what can you say? Even if your NFL player went to the CFL, felt disrespected or got cut by several teams and nobody was picking up the phone, he goes to the CFL and dominates, wins championships and MVPs there. That's not valid because it's not the NFL. It's still guys competing for a trophy, competing to be the best. All right, so that's all I want to say about Scottiepippen. There's many highlights I can show, but I already did that in my video, Scottiepippen, the most underrated player in NBA history, or one of the most underrated players in NBA history. You can check that out. Just scroll down on my channel. You'll find that video with him wearing a Santa Claus hat. I'm wearing red right now because I back Scottie. But Scottie wasn't perfect, and there's a lesson to be learned about being affirmative, being confident in yourself, stating what you want. And if you don't get it from one place, going somewhere else and get it from there. It's just simple as that. You have to know your value, whether it's within a relationship, a business, a workplace, a sport. Okay. If you're a musician in the studio, amongst other musicians on the stage, whatever. If you're an actor and you do plays, know your value. You're a bus driver and you know how good you whip that bus around, know your value. There's always a better opportunity somewhere, and somebody will recognize your value and your worth and pay you or compensate you accordingly and treat you accordingly. That's all I want to say on this. I'm going to come back on a second live. Are we in the golden era of point guards? And that's going to feature a talk on Gilbert Arenas' podcast, a debate with his partner in crime. I forget his name. So I wish everybody the best. Please like, share, and subscribe. I hope you had a great day. Hope you enjoy your evening. And I hope you dug in for the winter time, especially if you're in the Northeast, because it's upon us. 30 degrees when I woke up this morning. Holy smokes. Here we go again. 6 months of winter. So you're going to see me on here a lot, man, because I won't be outside as much. All right. This has been Rant Roller Sports. Thank you for joining me. Peace.